Hi everyone, this is audap. Let's continue our game of Ascendant Hearts on Nintendo Switch. Alright, why not? Okay. She stands up. Follow me. I don't know why a healing demonstration has to be done in private, but then again, the inn's other guests might not appreciate seeing a wound heal while they're trying to eat. I get up and follow Aiko out to the common area. Ako's room looks identical to the one I've been using. She sits down on the edge of the bed and gestures for me to join her, so I sit down too. Without warning, she begins taking off her clothes. Hey, whoa, wait a minute. Huh? What are you doing? You said you wanted a demonstration of how healing works. Yes, but it won't do any good if you can't see the scratch. You didn't say where the scratch was. Come closer so you can see. If you say so. No wonder she'd want to do this where everyone would see. I slide a little closer to Aiko. Closer. Where is the normal shy Aiko I've gotten used to? I move even closer. Okay, do you see this mark? It's almost healed now, but if you look closely... Hayato, are you paying attention? This is a bit distracting. I'm gonna start healing myself now. Watch as it fades. See? It doesn't disappear all at once. It's a gradual process, even for something that's mostly healed already. I see. Now, it probably looks like it's all healed, right? But if you touch the spot, the skin will feel different there than the rest. Go on. Really? Yes, just put your hand right. The awkwardness of the situation seems to dawn on her at last, and she pulls away from me. On second thought, I think that should be enough to demonstrate how healing works. She hastily puts on her clothes. Anyway, as you can see, I could be in danger if I was seriously injured. If you really believe you'll die on a quest, why'd you ever go on one? Because you're a nice person, Hayato. You're my friend. And now that I'm here, you're safe. Huh? A traitor might kill someone in their party. So since I'm doomed to die anyway, now Shiori will kill me instead of you. What? In a way, I'm touched that she'd risk her own life to protect mine, but this is absolutely insane. Not to mention morbid. Don't look at me like that. I'm not just throwing my life away. I mean, I'm flattered you'd want to protect me, but... I've known for a long time that I match the profile of the adventurer who dies. That's why I never wanted to be an adventurer. If she really believes that, joining our party must have taken a lot of courage. She's braver than she looks, even if she's up against fears that can't possibly be true. But you're my friend, and I want to help you. And what if avoiding quests isn't enough to protect me at all? That's the first logical thing she said. Death can come at any time, for anyone. At least in my world, it can. If I'm doomed to die, then I'd rather die to protect a friend. Let's see. Promise me you'll escape. It should happen sometime during or after the final battle. It's not going to happen at all. Promise me. Okay, fine. Okay, I promise. Don't worry. Lots of sweet-natured healers survived to the end of the story, after all, and I don't believe Shiori is a traitor. Even though I know it's your only amnesia that makes you say that, it makes me feel better to hear it anyway. She stands. Thank you. I'll be there tomorrow when you return to Dr. Takezawa's lab. Don't worry about me. I'll be your party member until the end. After we say goodbye and I leave her room, I can't help but shake my head. This, if possible, is even weirder than the rumors about Shiori. At least there's some logic to suspecting the sole survivor of a destroyed village to have played a role in the disaster. But this? Assuming you're designated to die? The more I learn about this world, the less I understand it. In the morning, I head to the town square where Shiori is already waiting. Good morning. Ready to go? We should wait for Aiko. Are you sure she's coming? Excuse me. I think about our disturbing conversation at the inn. She's convinced that she can save my life by being in our party when she already goes on her theoretical murderous rampage. She'll be here. Fine. Sure enough, after a few minutes, Aiko emerges from the inn and joins us. Good morning. Or not. Looks like she's still not happy about the situation. Of course, she thinks she's going to die, so that's understandable. Let's get this over with. The laboratory looks about the same as it did yesterday, but this time Dr. Takezawa is in the main room. He rubs his hands together in glee when he sees us. Are you ready for the results of the experiment? Yes. He paces back and forth in front of us. At long last, I have been able to analyze the waters of the sacred spring. What mysteries would I uncover? The true nature of the gods? A scientific explanation for the blessings these waters bestow? An even greater mystery? From time to time, he waves his hands in the air to emphasize his points. First, I studied the composition of the water itself. Water, yes, hydrogen and oxygen, the same composition of water you might find anywhere. But was that truly the end, or was there something more? I glance at Aiko, who shrugs. Shiori looks as casual as though Dr. Takezawa always launches into a monologue when asked to explain test results. I delved deeper and took a closer look. There was something strange about the water. Its atoms were different. Yet this was a mystery I could not solve through analysis alone. There was one path open to me, an experiment. Aiko leans closer to me, her voice a whisper. Is he ever going to tell us the results? I hope so. Shh, let the doctor speak. I really doubt our whispering has even the slightest chance of slowing his explanation. For all the attention he pays us, he might as well be alone in the room. What would happen if a test subject drank this special water? Would I need more time? More water? I certainly hope he's not going to ask us to go back to the sacred spring again. One encounter with the Guardians was enough. Quite enough, thank you. I gave a tiny amount of water to a whammer, while the others drank from their normal supply. Then I observed them. I watched and waited. And do you know what happened? Nothing. My heart sinks. However, the monologue continues. For the sake of science, there was only one thing left to do. I took the remaining water sample and drank it myself. When in doubt, experiment on yourself. This guy is a mad scientist, all right. At first, I experienced no effects whatsoever. Could it be true that the water of the sacred spring is merely regular water after all? In dismay, I returned to the whammer I used as my first test subject, and... He pauses dramatically. And? The poor thing wasn't dead, was it? Certainly not! But for a fleeting moment, I realized that it needed a bigger chamber. The one I gave it was too small. As I moved my captive whammers, the implications of this revelation hit me. Another dramatic pause. Aiko and I exchanged dubious glances. Even Shiori seems a bit put off. It's very nice that the mad scientist decided to take better care of his test subjects, but what does this have to do with the water sample? I understood the whammers better than ever. Not just them, but all of my test subjects. At that moment I knew. The water of the sacred spring, the supposed blessing of the gods. They stem from the fabled power lost to mankind, ascendancy. Silence follows. Dr. Takezawa's pronouncement. I glance at Aiko, who shrugs, and then at Shiori. She looks just as confused as me. We all turn to Dr. Takezawa. You could look a little more shocked, you know. A few gasps of awe wouldn't hurt. So, what you just told us is pretty significant then? Of course it is. Weren't you listening? The water is tied to ascendancy. What does that mean? The scientist stares at each of us in turn. For once, he appears to be at a loss for words. His mouth opens and closes several times before he finally speaks. None of you have heard of ascendancy? No. Me neither. Don't look at me. Like we'd ask the guy with amnesia anyway. It's also called Ascendant magic. Perhaps you've heard of that. No, I don't think so. Really? What are they teaching young adventurers these days? I suspect this is the doing of the High Cleric. Or perhaps the Guildmaster. Those fools. Suppress knowledge just as this. Oh, whoops. I didn't mean to do that. High Cleric Ninsei would never suppress the people's knowledge. He believes highly in education. Certainly he does, but there have always been rumors that Ascendant magic is tied to the power of the gods. I'd say this water sample is the so-called sacred spring proves it. Great, we really have committed heresy or something. I've seen enough evil religions in video games to know that this is a bad spot to be in. But I wouldn't rule out the Guildmaster as the culprit. Why would he do it? What do adventurers do all day? They run around and fight monsters for rewards. It is the Guildmaster's livelihood, and I heard it began because he has a vendetta against monsters for something that happened long ago. What does that have to do with ascendancy? Its discovery could make people question his entire system, don't you see? No. Of course not, because we still don't know what ascendancy is. Could you please stop arguing over why we don't know about it and get to the point? Very well. Ascendancy, or Ascendant Magic, is a legendary class of magic that allowed people to communicate with monsters. What? You mean they could talk to them? I'm not sure why she's so shocked when she considers it perfectly normal for monsters to participate in the adventure system. The more powerful ones could. Lesser examples of an ascendancy merely resulted in a greater understanding of monsters. This is what I experienced when I ingested the water from the sacred spring. So, if a person drinks enough of the water, they could talk to monsters? Oh, I doubt that. It's far too weak an effect. To truly use Ascendant Magic, you need to be born with the ability, and it hasn't been seen in centuries. That's probably why no one talks about it anymore. It's old enough to be a myth. But now we have proven it to be true. He practically jumps up and down in excitement. Sheer scientific glee fills his voice. I suspect this explains the spring's blessings as well. Someone anointed with this water, and especially someone who drank it, would have a temporary understanding of monsters. They would be able to avoid danger, possibly find monster dens for quests. I must begin work on an official report at once. What a wonderful day for science. Wait, Dr. Takasawa, before we go, what effect does the water have on monsters who drink it? Oh, I expected better of you, Shiori. Huh? Clearly explained in my earlier speech that it had no effect on my test subjects. But that doesn't make any sense. The natural assumption is that monsters would be able to understand humans better, but ascendancy has always gone in one direction, from the human to the monster. No, I mean it doesn't make sense that the Dark Wolves would stop at the sacred spring. She's right. In all the excitement over having the water analyzed, I almost forgot our original reason for doing it. We were trying to understand the Dark Wolves, and the sacred spring seemed to be a step in the right direction. What are you talking about? What do Dark Wolves have to do with this water? The last time they attacked the Lightshire, they left behind one of the sacred spring's flowers. When we went to investigate, the Guardians were agitated. We thought maybe the monsters stopped there before teleporting to Lightshire. That's why we wanted the water analyzed. At first, he just stares at us, then he throws his hands in the air and races back and forth across the lab in the fastest example of pacing I've ever seen. What is science coming to? The lot of you have the least scientific minds I've ever seen. Analyze the water, you said. Discover special properties. And for what? To answer a question about monsters that may or may not have anything to do with the water? That just made sense. No! You found a connection between the Dark Wolves and the flowers, nothing more. But your unscientific minds leapt to the water. All this time, my experiments, my breakthroughs. But it was still a great day for science, wasn't it? The scientist stops and frowns at me. His anger abates, and he looks satisfied again. Why, you are correct. I did not do these experiments merely to help you, but for science. I feel like I'm starting to understand how Dr. Takasawa's mind works. It's a rather alarming realization. So, we did all this for nothing? No, you did it for science. And we did learn something, even if it wasn't what we expected. Still, though, this doesn't help our mission to investigate the monsters at all. Dr. Takasawa clears his throat. We could give up on our quest. Ha! No, not happening. But we need to protect the town. Dr. Takasawa clears his throat again, a bit louder this time. Then what are we gonna do? I don't know. That was our only lead. I suppose we could investigate the sacred spring again, but aside from the water, I'm not sure what we could find there. The scientist clears his throat with such vigor, he sounds like he's choking to death. Are you okay, Doctor? Anyway, I guess we need to start from the beginning. Enough! Can't you people take a hint? We all stare at him. You're overlooking the obvious. Two girls look at me and I shrug. We return our puzzled gazes to the mad scientist, who clears his throat a few more times before he throws his arms up in disgust. Such unscientific minds! You erroneously linked the Dark Wolves to the water, and therefore took the water to your friendly neighborhood scientist. You correctly linked the Dark Wolves to the flowers and gave up? Good heavens! If only there was a scientist who could analyze the flowers the way he analyzed the water. Hey, that's right. The idea never crossed my mind until he brought it up. No wonder he seems so frustrated with us. Would you do that for us, Dr. Takasawa? Huh. I have hardly mentioned it only to change my mind at the last second. Bring me flowers from the sacred spring, and I'll analyze them. For a horrible moment, I worry we'll have to backtrack to the sacred spring and deal with the Guardians again. Then I remember putting the original flower in my inventory. With a sigh of relief, I reached into my pocket and focused on accessing my items. It only takes a couple of tries before my fingers cross around the small flower. I must be getting better at this. Here. I hand it over to Dr. Takezawa. Wonderful. Now bring me 4 more. What? You thought 1 flower was enough for science? Ah, 5 is the minimum I need for a valid and thorough experimentation. You mean we have to go back? If it means we'll learn more about how to stop the Dark Wolves, I'm all for it. Hayato? I hate agreeing with her, because I'd rather do anything than return to the Sacred Spring, but I reluctantly nod. Fine, let's just get it over with. When we reach the Sacred Spring, it seems oddly peaceful. More like how we'd expect a Sacred Spring to be, without monsters trying to kill us. This is a nice change. Speak for yourself. You'd rather the Guardians attack us? This feels like a trap. We slowly walk up to the edge of the water. Still no signs of Guardians. I pluck a handful of flowers and put them in my inventory. Since they're so small, I'd take a few extra just in case. You never know. Dr. Takezawa might say something like, "These are perfect for my first experiment, but bring me 5 more for the sake of science." That's it? We can leave? Seems like it. Good, Who are you? The voice makes us all jump. I place my hand on my sword. I can't help but feel that the person who spoke is probably the reason the Guardians aren't around. Anyone who can subdue the Guardians makes me nervous. Movement above us catches my eye. Someone stands on a rocky ledge high above us. What is your business here? We came for some flowers. Why? Aren't they holy flowers used in ceremonies? It's almost as though she suspects we have another reason for wanting them. Religious reasons? I feel like she doesn't believe me. Could she somehow know we're taking them to Dr. Takezawa? The Sacred Spring is a holy place. You can't forbid people from coming here. Fine then. Be on your way. She leaps down from the rock and lands right in front of us. I stumble backwards in surprise, and Aiko loses her balance and falls into the Sacred Spring with a cry. Shiori looks like she's about to bombard the stranger with fireballs, but the mysterious woman darts forward like a blur and shoves her off balance into the water. Why, you... The stranger is already on her way down the mountain. She leaves us as quickly as she arrived. Soaked and dripping with sacred water, Shiori and Aiko clamber out of the pool. The good news is that if Dr. Takezawa's hypothesis about the water's so-called blessing is true, they'll be able to avoid monsters for a while. What was that all about? Maybe she has something to do with the Dark Wolves. That could be it. Maybe she comes here to drink the water and then gives the Dark Wolves orders to attack the town. For what Dr. Takezawa said, that wouldn't actually work, but he could be mistaken. I'm not sure we should take the word of the mad scientist as law. My neck prickles as though someone is watching us. I whirl towards the mountain and scan the ledge where the stranger stood before, but I can't see anyone. If someone's there, they know how to stay out of sight. Whoever she is, she certainly was rude, pushing me into the Sacred Spring like that. Is that all it takes to stop a mage? That's good to know. Oh, shut up! You look just as silly as I do. Let's get out of here. We'll leave as soon as we dry our clothes. Here? What if the Guardians come back? They're still calm. Yes, I feel it too. Besides, it's not healthy to stay in wet clothes for long. Trust me, I'm a healer. Okay, if you insist. Hayato, why don't you take a look around while we dry our clothes? This is the perfect time to check for any clues we might have missed. I'll call you when we're ready. The last thing I want to do is poke around a mountain that's inhabited by Guardians, possibly visited by Dark Wolves, and had at least one mysterious stranger lurking around, but Shiori and Aiko both fix me with expectant stares. Alright. In truth, I'm a bit curious about how they plan to dry their clothes. An elemental mage might have a pretty exciting technique. I picture Shiori surrounding herself, and Aiko with rings of fire. Nevertheless, I head up the small path that leads away from the spring itself, deeper into the mountains. The rest of the Sacred Spring area isn't very interesting. It's mainly full of rocks, without anything I'd consider even a vague clue. Then I find something more interesting. A bit too interesting. Nice, Guardian! Calm or not, it still looks threatening. It also looks like its relaxed state of mind might disappear at any moment. Its eyes meet me as though debating about how quickly it should kill me. Sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you. I'll just, go now. I back away from the Guardian's territory and make a beeline for the Sacred Spring. Whether they're finished or not, we need to get out of here. Sticking around will be far worse for their health than wearing wet clothes. Hey, we need to, What are you doing? Me? What are you two doing? We're letting our clothes dry, remember? You didn't tell me you were going to take them off. Did you seriously think we were going to dry our clothes while wearing them? Yes, actually I did. Idiot. But what are you doing in the sacred spring? Relaxing its waters, obviously. Did you lose your memory of hot springs, Hayato? No, but didn't you say this was a sacred place? Yes, it's the sacred spring. That's an important part of why we're investigating it, remember? But is something wrong? He's just stalling so he can keep staring at us. No, I'm not. It's just, is it okay to bathe in a sacred spring? I mean, isn't that sort of disrespectful? The gods gave us a sacred hot spring for a reason. It would be disrespectful to ignore it. Besides, we need all the blessings we can get. Blessings? Yes. She speaks slowly as though she's starting to believe I'm dense. The waters of the sacred spring grant people the blessing of the gods, or, as we now know from Dr. Takazawa, you can be blessed by sitting in a hot spring? They exchange glances. Yes, but only the sacred spring. It's a common ritual. People regularly make pilgrimages here. Pilgrimages to bathe in hot springs? I've heard everything. I tried to imagine Ninsei leading a group of people here for this purpose, but it's too ridiculous. Why'd you come back anyway? She already said she'd call for you. He came to spy on us, that's why. No, I came here because there are guardians around. No kidding, they live here, remember? But thanks to the waters of the sacred spring, we can tell we're in no danger from the guardians. Dr. Takazawa's hypothesis was correct. I tried to imagine the look of the scientist's face if he knew they used his theory about the water and ascendancy to determine whether or not it was safe to bathe in the sacred spring. Now, are you going to keep staring, or... No, I'll leave. Right, I'll go, if you're sure it's safe. Embarrassed and still a bit perplexed, I leave. I wander around the mountain and try to avoid the guardians until Shiori finally calls my name. I approach the sacred spring cautiously. That was very rude of you earlier, Hayato. I didn't do it on purpose. A likely story. Come on, we should leave before the guardians become restless. What took you so long? Shiori scowls and Aiko hides her face. They had a close encounter with the water of the sacred spring. The good news is the water really did tell them whether or not there was any danger from monsters. Oh? Huh. Going for a swim is hardly scientific, but I suppose I can't fault your enthusiasm. Yeah, it wasn't quite like that. Just give him the flowers. Her tone makes it clear that if I waste any more time, she'll take out her annoyance at the stranger on me instead. I hastily retrieve the collection of flowers from my inventory and hold them out to the scientist. Excellent. Oh, I see you brought more than the 4 I asked for. You do realize I don't hand out quest rewards for this, correct? Yes, I just want to make sure you had enough for all your experiments. I admire your devotion to science. More like my devotion to never dealing with the guardians again. How quickly can you analyze the flowers? 3 days. 3 days? I know, it's rather impressive, isn't it? Once you become a true scientist like myself, you'll find that you can manage your time quite effectively to... No, I'm not impressed. We can't wait 3 days. These things take time. But what are we supposed to do for the next 3 days? Whatever you adventurers normally do. Now, shoo, all of you. I won't analyze the flowers at all. Looks like it's 3 days or nothing. We'll just have to accept. I can't believe we have to wait. We're not on a deadline. Every day we don't stop the Dark Wolves is one more day they can attack. Lightshire has been fortunate so far, but we can't keep going on like this. Hey, what if we tried to research that legendary magic you told us about? Ascendancy? I thought we decided it had nothing to do with the monsters. We don't know that for sure, and that woman at the Sacred Spring didn't seem like she was there for religious reasons. This might be important. Right, let's split up and see if we can learn anything at all about Ascendancy or Ascendant magic. We'll meet at the end this evening to share our findings. Agreed? Agreed. Okay. Feels weird to be here by myself. I look around for someone to talk to and finally approach the counter where we turn in quests. Excuse me? Yes? Have you ever heard of Ascendancy? Ever heard of what? Ascendancy. It's also called Ascendant magic. Is that a new method of flight? Not even close. Then I have no idea. Oh, thanks anyway. As I look for someone else to ask, she calls after me. Hey, you're the new guy who joined Shiori's party, aren't you? Yes. Is she going to give me a hard time about Shiori again? The guildmaster was asking about you. Me? Why? No idea. He wanted to know who you are, where you came from, how you ended up working with Shiori, that sort of thing. I see. If you see him around, maybe you should talk to him. Alright, thanks for letting me know. It's a little weird though. I know he tried to warn me about Shiori, but what would make the guildmaster take a specific interest in me? Well, if I run into him, I'll talk to him. Right now though, I need to focus on asking people about Ascendant magic. That night, I arrived at the inn first. I spent the day walking up to random people and asking them if they ever heard of Ascendancy or Ascendant magic. No one had. On the plus side, at least they didn't seem put off by me asking. Maybe adventurers ask random questions of strangers all the time. The door opens and Aiko walks in. When she sees me, she joins me at my table. Any luck? No. Me neither. I have to wonder if she actually tried, given her feelings about continuing along a story quest. It will probably insult her if I ask, though, so I keep those thoughts to myself. Shiori bursts into the inn and runs to our table. You looked excited. Did you learn something? Which do you want first, the good news or the bad news? The bad news. The good news. We look at each other. You always ask for the bad news first, that way the good news will cheer you up. If you say so. What's the bad news, Shiori? We can't get into the place where we might learn more about Ascendancy. And the good news? I found a place where we might learn more about Ascendancy. Yeah, it really only works if I give you the good news first. Well, what is this place? And why can't we go there? And why did she look so excited when she came in if she didn't find anything that can actually help us? I returned to the ancient library of Kier to search for any references to Ascendant magic. I found one, but it was only a tiny reference. It mentioned Ascendant magic as one of the primary interests of the worshippers at the Temple of Bazal. So what's the problem? Bazal. I've heard of that name. The Temple of Bazal is one of the more popular raids. Raid? You mean like a raid quest? You know about raids? Is your memory returning? My memory of RPGs is just fine, thank you. My knowledge of how those things correspond to this world, still not so good. Could you refresh my memory? I don't know much about raids either. Okay. Rare adventure item dungeons are special locations filled with powerful monsters, and they always contain fantastic rewards for any adventurer who tries to make it to the end. They're called raids because of the acronym, and because at the start, adventurers who rush in to try to raid the rewards before anyone else. That was before they knew the rewards would replenish. Why do they replenish? I assume the monsters get new items ready. Why? Or maybe the gods replace the rewards. That makes sense. No, it doesn't. But, never mind. So if we do this raid, we'll learn more about Ascendant magic. We might. However, the Temple of Bazal is only open to parties with at least 4 members. Oh. Silence descends over us. It was hard enough getting Aiko to join. How can we possibly get a 4th party member? Well, I guess we have to try, right? Last time, when we posted our request for a healer, we left to wait. This time, we stay in the hopes of roping in anyone who seems even a little interested. Our request is simple. We need a temporary party member for a single quest to the Temple of Bazal. One by one, adventurers walk to the board to look at requests. One by one, they read our notice and turn away without more than a quick glance in our direction. By the time 5 people have ignored our request, I'm a bit annoyed. It's time to take on a more direct approach. When the next adventurer reads it, I'll step forward. Hi. What are you doing? I'm a new adventurer, and I've never been on a raid before. Want to join my party to help me out? The adventurer gives me a withering stare. By your party, do you mean hers? I glance back at Shiori. Well, yes, we're in the same party. No thanks. I glare at the adventurers departing back. This is ridiculous. Another person arrives to check the quest. She reads the notice, gives us a quick look, and turns away. I step forward to stop her. Hey, I'm a new adventurer, and I'd really like to try out this raid. I'm not joining the traders' party. Now stand up for Shiori. There's no logical reason to believe Shiori would betray anyone. Besides, it's just a raid. Why would she betray us on a raid? I'm not taking any chances. Defeated, I step back to wait in silence again. Hearing the absurd belief about Shiori makes it even worse. She doesn't seem as angry as I expected, though. Annoyed, yes, but not as much as she should be for someone everyone believes is a traitor. Someone else arrives to look at the quest. She ignores our notice. Then another one arrives. He reads it and shakes his head. Aiko steps forward. Huh? What are you... It's okay. I'm the one the traitor will kill on our quest, so you'll be perfectly safe if you join our party. Don't say things like that. Wait, she believes... What? The adventurer leaves, but Aiko waves urgently to the next one who arrives. Won't you join our party? It's just for a single dungeon, and I'm the one who is doomed to die anyway. Hey, stop saying that. Despite her efforts, it still isn't enough to sway anyone. We stay there until late in the evening, when we finally give up as a lost cause and decide to try again tomorrow. After a long morning of failed recruitment attempts, we gather at the inn to commiserate, and to have lunch and try to think of a new plan, but mainly commiserate. This is the worst. It's all my fault. I'm sorry. Don't blame yourself. But it is my fault. You two would have better luck forming your own party and asking for 2 new members. What would be the point of that? This is your quest. I stare at her in shock. I expected her to leap at the opportunity to have Shiori leave our party. She seems to be at a loss for words. Of course, we could give up. Not a chance. And then... I guess we need a new plan. The Temple of Bazal is out. Dr. Takazawa still needs a couple days to complete his research. I don't suppose either of you found any references to Ascendancy. Nope. None. Then, where do we go from here? Before either of us can answer, a familiar voice cuts through our conversation. You go to the Temple of Bazal? A woman walks to our table. Not only is she carrying unsheathed daggers, but the very way she moves makes her seem dangerous. Yet something about her strikes a chord in my memory. You're the woman from the river. That's right. My name is Chise. What are you doing here? I'm here to become your 4th party member. We all stare at the woman. I know we posted a request for a new party member, but we can't exactly afford to be picky about who we take in. But I didn't expect someone to approach us so bluntly about it. She sits at the table with us. Well, don't gawk. We need to prepare for the Temple of Bazal. Are we going today? Shiori recovers from her composure first. Yes, we can go today, as long as everyone is ready. The sooner we get it over with, the better. Sure, let's go today. Doesn't matter why she wants to join us. We need a party member, and she's interested. That's all I need to know. Hayato, Aiko, neither of you has been on a raid before, correct? That's right. Well, yes. It's not like I can tell her I've gone on raids in Morgues. At best, she'll think I'm crazy. At worst, MMORPG means something here, and I'll have accidentally declared membership to some secret cult. What about you, Chise? I've gone on many raids. In fact, I've been to the Temple of Bazal many times. Is that why she wants to join us? It's her favorite dungeon or something? Enough to overcome even Shiori's reputation? This one will be a little different. We're going to grab the rewards and rush for the boss. We need to do research along the way. Research? Supposedly, the worshippers were interested in Ascendant magic. That's the legendary power said to allow people to communicate with monsters. Have you heard of it? Obviously. Dr. Takazawa would be happy. Why are you researching it? It could have something to do with the Dark Wolves. And then there was this mysterious woman at the Sacred Spring. I can't shake the strange encounter from my head. It couldn't have been coincidence that we were at the Sacred Spring to investigate the attacks when she appeared, could it? It seems like she wanted us to leave as quickly as possible, like she had something to hide. Then again, she left before us. Maybe she's naturally antagonistic. On the other hand, in this place, that could be the start of a side quest. The point is, we want to search the Temple of Bazal for any information about Ascendant magic. Still interested? Yes. Great. When can we leave? Wait, if we're going to the Temple of Bazal raid, we need to stock up on curatives. Good point. Why? I mean, we have a healer. No offense to your healer, but I'd rather not place all our hopes on her. but it's okay. I wouldn't want everyone depending on me anyway. Nevertheless, she sounds a little put out as she says it. The Temple of Bazaal is extremely dangerous, particularly if you plan to poke in every nook and cranny for clues about Ascendant magic. Okay. She rises from the table. I'll stock up on items. We watch her leave the inn and then exchange baffled glances with one another. Is it just my amnesia, or is this a little weird? On one hand, people join new parties all the time. Some adventurers wait around until a party has an opening, especially if it's for a specific quest. She did say she has a lot of experience with the Temple of Bazaal. She might be a professional raider. And on the other hand, I find it hard to believe we're the only party planning to do this raid in the near future. Why did she pick us? Maybe she wanted to help us out. Maybe. The dubious note in her voice suggests she doesn't share Aiko's optimistic appraisal of our new party member. Wait a minute. I see where this is going. This is the part where a mysterious person joins and our party becomes divided due to mistrust and lack of communication. Oh no, I'm letting that happen. Let's ask her about it. What? Ask. We walk up to her and say, why do you want to join our party? Easy. And if she doesn't answer? She will. They both look a little skeptical about that, but I stand up and lead the way out of the inn. There you are. I brought several curatives. Allow me to your party so we can all use them. Add her to the party? How? When Aiko joined, she just joined. Your party leader needs to add me. I glance over my shoulder as Shiori and Aiko join us. Shiori, is there a way to add Chisei to our party? Yes, but first... She fixes Chisei with an intense stare. Why do you want to join our party? I wince. When I said it in the inn, it had a casual, curious tone. Shiori, however, makes it sound like an accusation. I have my reasons. What are they? For the time being, I prefer to keep that information to myself. My heart sinks. Has anyone else offered to join your party? No? Then you need me if you want to enter the Temple of Bazaal. She's right. I glance at Shiori and give a tiny nod. She doesn't look happy, but she sighs. Fine, you're in. Perfect. Once again, she leaves first. As she heads towards the field, we follow at a slower pace. Now what? It's awfully strange that she won't tell us why she wanted to join. Let's keep an eye on her. It doesn't seem overtly suspicious, but this world doesn't play by the rules I know. Everyone here thinks Shiori could be a treacherous party member, but because apparently traitors show up often enough to make it a valid concern to them. Good idea. If she makes a false move, we strike. Strike? Really hope it doesn't come to that. Outside of town, I look around. For the first time, I realize I've never traveled far from Lightshire. The library, the sacred spring, Dr. Takazawa's lab. It's a good hike to reach them, but nothing much when I consider that there's an entire world out there. Where's the Temple of Bazaal? Do you remember the forest where we gathered eggs? How could I forget? Indeed. What happened? Is there a story here? We don't have time for stories. Her flat tone leaves no room for argument. Our new party member is not one for wasting time, it seems. She makes her point even clearer when she starts through the field without us. I guess she really wants to go on this raid. We hurry enough to catch up to her. Anyway, once you go through the forest, you'll eventually reach another forest. The Temple of Bazaal is in there. What's in between? In between what? The forests. Nothing. Then, isn't it a single forest? No, you'll see. Somehow she makes the simple phrase sound foreboding. When we reach the forest, I'm getting tired. Chisei is far ahead of us, although still within sight. On one hand, I'm glad we haven't stopped to fight anything. On the other hand, a small rest couldn't hurt. Aiko and I are both lagging behind. Several yards ahead of us, Shiori looks back every now and then to make sure we're still there. My next skill point is going into endurance. There's an endurance skill? I really hope so. She stops and hunches over as she tries to catch her breath. Not used to this. I stop as well. Shiori, wait a minute. She turns and walks back to us with a frown. You two really need to improve your physical capabilities if you hope to make it as adventurers. I know, but for now, can't we take a quick rest? I am the party leader, after all. She cups her hands around her mouth and shouts to Chisei. who gets further and further away with each passing moment. Hey, Chise! Hey! No response. She scowls and shakes her head. I'll go get her. She breaks into a run to chase down Chise. Those two aren't exactly going to be best friends, are they? Mako sits down on a nearby tree stump. I don't know why Chise is in such a rush. Me neither. The forest is quiet as we catch our breaths. Occasionally a flapper soars above us, but none of them attack. Time passes with no sign of Shiori or Chise. The forest gets even quieter. It's just me, or is it getting a little too quiet here? She's right. The forest no longer feels peaceful so much as dead. She stands up and I place my hand on my weapon in case something happens. A twig snaps and we both whirl around. The stranger and I shout at the same time. You again? You again? Aiko puts her hands in front of her defensively, as if she expects to be shoved into something. Seeing this woman at the sacred spring was one thing, but meeting her on the way to the temple of Bazal too? Can't be a coincidence. Once again, we accuse each other in unison. Are you following us? Are you following us? I pause. Us? Gah! I look around for any sign of who she's traveling with, and she dashes away. Wait! I take a step towards her, but she's already vanished into the trees. That was weird. Could she be investigating Ascendant magic too? Crushing footsteps make us both jump, but it's only Shiori and Chise. Did something happen? You two look like you've seen a ghost. The woman from the sacred spring was here. What? She asked if we were following her. Strange. We don't have time for this. If you're rested enough, let's continue on. As impatient as ever, I wonder how Shiori convinced her to go back for us at all. Maybe she at least realizes that she can't get into the Temple of Bazal without her full party. With a sigh, Aiko and I rejoin them and continue on through the forest. Whoa. One minute we're walking between normal trees, but the next minute... Now do you understand why the two forests are considered separate? Yeah. Keep moving. We're almost there. She marches on as steadfastly as if we're not in an evil forest of doom. Of course, if the Temple of Bazal is her favorite raid, she must be used to it. We keep walking, but I can't help but feel uneasy. Why does it look like this? The Temple of Bazal has corrupted the land around it. Corrupted? Well, what about the monsters? Nothing lives out here. That's a relief, at least. If the temple's corruption makes the forest look this bad, I can't imagine what corrupted monsters must look like. All corrupted beings moved into the temple to be closer to their god. That is not comforting at all. We're going to see them inside. It wouldn't be much of a parade if there weren't monsters, well, would it? I knew I didn't want to be an adventurer. I'm starting to remember why I didn't want to be one either. And there's something in the temple about Ascendant magic. Like I said, the worshippers were researching it. While the creepy monsters were there? Of course, the worshippers were corrupted too. Somehow I can hear the capital letter. She keeps mentioning worshippers, not worshippers. It's not a casual people who go to the temple to worship sort of word, but a specific term used to describe a group. I open my mouth to ask just what sort of temple this is, and then a dark, creepy building comes into my view. We both stop dead and stare at it. Up ahead, Chise apparently realizes we stop following her. What's the holdup? Oh, we're coming. It's the first time seeing the Temple of Bazal, remember? It's awe-inspiring if you're not used to it. Awe-inspiring. That's one word for it. The three of us follow Chise towards the temple doors, and I just hope it looks less ominous on the inside. So much for looking less ominous inside. This place makes my head hurt. Shiori, what sort of place is the Temple of Bazal? This doesn't look like anything like the church back in Lightshire. Why would it? It has nothing to do with our religion. The worshippers are generally considered to be a cult. I'd never have guessed. So this Bazal god that they worship? Bazal isn't the name of their god, it's the name of their land. Then why is it called the Temple of Bazal? Because that's where it's from. She looks at me as though I'm dense. I try to work my way through this. You mean this building itself originally came from another country called Bazal? That's right. The worshippers transported it here? No. Please don't tell me it walked. Oh, no. Oh, thank goodness. Then how did it get here? No one knows, but we suspect secret worshippers used dark rituals to open a portal, which transported their temple here. Seriously? Wouldn't most people just build a new temple? Did you say the dark rituals? Yes. Are we going to meet the worshippers? Running into crazy cultists on the raid never occurred to me. I wonder how the adventuring rules handle humans fighting other humans. It probably isn't good. No, we shouldn't run into them. They've long since abandoned the Temple of Bazal. Whew. I thought you said they didn't mind the corrupted monsters running around. They didn't. According to the stories, the Temple of Bazal became a haven for the worshippers to study arcane magic, perform their rituals, and of course, worship Ealzarnoth. Yeah, God bless you. Huh? That wasn't a sneeze, Hayato. Ealzarnoth is the god's name. Ealzarnoth? Really? Look around the temple's strange interior and think about the name. Did I take a wrong turn and wander out of RPG land into some Lovecraftian horror game? Everyone, stay focused. It's hard to stay focused in a place that looks like this. Where should we look for clues? The worshippers conducted research here, so we should find some sort of library or archives. Alright, why don't we stop it there? This is audapostrophe. You've been watching Ascendant Hearts on Nintendo Switch. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.